Right.
I can't wait to hear that noise the whole episode. It makes so much noise actually, but
You can't hear it in the mic though.
oh, okay, never mind. I could
Yeah.
hear it, but slay, purr, love. Anyway, are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, oops. Hi all.
No, yeah, literally hi all. We've been gone for like 3 weeks or something. I honestly don't
I think
remember.
we haven't filmed in that long, but I think it's been like 2 weeks of no episode,
Right.
I
And that
think.
is completely on me, you guys. I've been
No.
busy. Oh gosh. And then summer was here and we were like, we're gonna film a pod in person. And we
Yeah.
were unable to put on makeup at that time. So you're
It
just
was
gonna
just,
have to forgive us for that.
please forgive us. It was just not in the cards for us.
No, like Destiny was not,
Not on our side.
we really did not have that much time and we decided to kind of just spend it with each other.
Watching Pride
And
and Prejudice.
yeah, that summer I watched PMP for the first time. She
Yup.
sobbed, obviously.
Honestly.
Like obviously. So, and then I think the other weekend I was gone. And we were unable to catch up on filming and such due to the 9 to 5 of it all. So
Right.
we are finally back. Just so sorry. I know you missed us all.
I know you actually were crying over the 2 weeks when a new episode didn't pop up on your feed on Friday.
Yeah, and thankfully, like we did think ahead and thought of you guys and did
Yeah,
move forward with
100.
having content for the past 2 weeks so that you
100.
wouldn't feel like we were abandoning you. And that
Exactly.
was,
Yeah, we did that for you guys.
yeah, that was for you. So honestly, I feel like me and Summer kind of discussed, we kind of just want to do an update video again as well, just because one, Summer and I did go to a beautiful book fest in Fort Lauderdale. Woohoo!
Woohoo.
Came to visit me here in Florida. So we did do that and met some pretty cool people slash authors slash vendors and such. So we kind of wanted to do an update on that as well as there have been a lot of new releases in this month.
Yeah.
And by new releases, I'm meaning books.
But, oh, I mean, what else?
I think that maybe we should start with we did read a very anticipated read for the both of us.
Yay.
We actually did finish about a couple days ago.
A
Um,
crisp 24 hours ago for
yeah.
myself.
Yeah. So if you recall, I mean, we've only mentioned it probably once, so maybe you
Yeah.
don't remember it
Yeah.
all, but we did talk about the Windy City series by Liz Tom Fortier a million zillion times on this pod.
I mean,
And
like, what else?
yeah, no, like literally what else?
Yeah.
Summer actually did fly through this whole series within like 2 months or so, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you
I think
say?
I read all of them in like end of March, beginning of April, so in about a month.
Right.
Well,
So yeah.
except for the new one.
So yeah, and then we had to kind of wait for this last one, this last installment, the wrap up, if you will.
The
And
final note in
that
this series.
and I it took everything in me not to discuss everything under the sun about this book to Summer last night. We said we're saving it for pod.
We did
Um
have to call each other, of course, but
yeah, just we were doing a wellness check
yeah,
just
just
to
checking in.
see,
Yeah,
but we weren't able to discuss details.
because we wanted to save that for you guys,
Right. Once again, we're doing it for you.
for you. Everything is
Um,
for you.
Everything is for you. Pod, this one's for you. Okay. Summer, what do you, okay, I want to hear your thoughts because I feel like, look, based on your review on Goodreads and my review on Goodreads, I think that you may have enjoyed it more than I did. So I want to hear your thoughts.
I think that this one, in true like Windy City fashion, has like this just an underlying theme of, life
Mhm.
and going through the motions or whatever, if
Mhm.
that makes any sense. This one's romance, though, felt completely different than any of the other ones
I agree.
because in all the other ones, they didn't really know each other, like Hallie and Rio. For context, Rio is the male main character, in almost said the right move. I'm sorry, Ryan Shade is always right
He's always on the mind.
In Rewind It Back, which is the fifth book that we just read. So Rio's the male main character and Hallie's the female main character, and they're childhood best friends turned lovers turned, I guess,
Enemies?
enemies-ish.
Enemies?
Like they broke up, separated for 6 years, and then they reconnected,
Mm-hmm.
um, and moved back into the lovers space.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the first one in which like they had already knew everything about each other. So it was
Right.
kind of, I guess, missing that aspect a little bit of like watching the two characters get to know each other. But I do love, there's just something about childhood best
Mm.
friends and
Mm-hmm.
soulmates and like the idea of, a huge gap of time separating the two characters and them coming
Right.
back and it's just like, okay, well we're destined for each other. It's just very sweet. I think that
Mm-hmm.
just warmed my heart. But I think the reason I enjoyed it, I think more is just because it felt like the perfect way to summarize the series. Like it was
Right.
kind of just a sweet, I would say fairly simple love story. If I mean, we already loved Rio so much, so it's just kind of like we had got him in every single book, so we didn't
Mm-hmm.
really need much to develop on his part. So it's just kind of like very sweet, and my soul just felt like very happy reading it. And
Right.
I like it was a perfect way to sum up a series, and it holds a special place in my heart.
I will,
Um,
yeah, I will say like we've seen Rio this whole series,
yeah.
but he's always been like the comic relief. Like he's always
Mm-hmm.
been like the really hot hockey player who just like cannot get a woman to save his life.
Yeah.
And I think in this book it was very evident that like that was not the case and he was like actually doing it on purpose because
Yes.
he subconsciously nobody was going to compare to Hallie in his head.
Yeah.
And so that's like that I thought that aspect was really sweet. Once again, me and Summer are aligned. We love childhood, friends to
Hmm.
lovers
I mean,
situation.
I just don't know how someone can't just
I
like,
agree. I will say though, for this to be like so like focused on their be like they have a history, I wish we would have had more flashback scenes.
yeah, I
Like we
agree.
only had flashback scenes for like significant moments, but
Right.
I wish that we could have seen like
Some of the
them,
smaller ones.
yeah, like leading up to them actually getting together
Right.
because we didn't get that in the flashbacks and then we didn't get it in the really in the present either.
Right.
Like, I mean, yes, he was like trying to win her back, but it wasn't like you weren't seeing him fall in love with her. And I think that that probably would have made this a 5-star read for me if it would have had more of like the small moments of like him falling for her in the
Yeah.
past, if that
No
makes sense.
one, yeah, no one does it like love in other words. I mean,
Yeah, and I shouldn't, and maybe I shouldn't have been comparing it to that, which I kind of wasn't.
yeah.
But that, like, when you're talking friends to lovers, like, that is like the blueprint, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't find myself comparing, but like the idea of a huge gap between and like the flashbacks intermixed. I
hmm
think that that book did it perfectly. Not to bring in a completely different book,
No,
but yeah,
yeah, no, yeah.
for this one, I when I saw she was doing flashbacks, I said, "Oh, okay, we're doing like that kind of vibe." And I
hmm
did think that there weren't enough. But however, I mean, I can't say too many negative things. I will say
No.
some of it felt a little like slow. It just felt a little bit more wholesome. I don't know how to explain. I don't really know how to explain how
hmm
it just kind of felt, the story felt a little bit more predictable. It kind of just
I
felt like a
agree.
slower pace, but not in a slow pace like slow burn, just kind of like a,
We're just waiting for them to kind of just like, okay, fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I am aligned. I think that I was able to predict every single thing that happened in this
No,
book.
there was not a thing that from the moment I found out that like their parents were no longer together, I said,
Both
okay, no,
sets.
both sets. I said,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. I know exactly why they're not together.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know, of course, about the spoiler about like the timing of her dad being sick with the whole cheating
Yeah,
scandal. Like that's
right.
too niche, but I mean, that was
I
pretty obvious.
I even I called it. I'll say it. There, once again, like if you came here for a spoiler-free review, like good
Like,
luck.
sorry.
Because like this is the first time me and Summer have actually gone into depth on this conversation, so thank you so much.
So
Okay.
like,
Anyway,
don't mind us.
the it was kind of supposed to be a shock factor that like he
Right.
had never been with anybody else except for her. And I like literally called
But we
that.
knew that. Like I
Yeah,
like
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 I was like, okay, please. He's not just like been with someone like as far as dating, but like physically he's never been with anybody else but Hallie.
right.
And he like expressed that to her. Now, her doing the same, that was a little, I was like, oh, okay. We're both
Yeah.
doing okay.
We're
Because
both
I,
doing abstinence at the time.
yeah, no. And, and the fact that he had like, what was the tattoo? He like
He
got
had, so she had like a special way she drew like her
the heart.
signature. Her last name was Hart, Hart. So she drew like a special heart and they exchanged mixtapes that would have that signature drawn on it.
Hmm.
And so he had gotten, okay, that, no, that got me.
It was cute.
He had gotten that heart tattooed on his heart. Yeah, that's super cheesy, but what's so significant about it is their separation gap was 6 years. He got it 3 years after they broke up.
Hmm.
Like,
And then
how
wanted
bad?
and then wanted to claim he did not like when she came back into his life, he was like, I literally do not care about her. Like, please, you
Like,
clearly
bestie,
do.
hold on. You
Like
have a tattoo that says otherwise.
you clearly do. But I will, yeah, I felt like because it was so predictable, I wasn't like enjoying it as much.
Right. It
Like,
wasn't like hooking me. I wasn't on the edge of my
no,
seat.
there was not like any point where I was like giggling, kicking my feet. Like Ryan Shea had me giggling and kicking my feet, which to be fair, like who's gonna compare? But yes, I kind of agree. But honestly, I'm gonna say this and maybe I'll regret it later, but like we could have ended Isaiah's book. Like I don't think that Rio necessarily had to have a book.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like if she was going to wrap it up, like obviously Rio was like the perfect character to do so,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't feel like his book was necessary.
Yeah. I think ending with I think I wouldn't have felt complete without knowing Rio's ending.
Right.
But I do think that it was just kind of like when you watch a TV show that's kind of like wrapping up their final episode and you could tell their season got cut a little short. It's
Mm.
felt like one of those episodes where it's the final episode and they're just tying up all the loose ends where it's still kind of like sweet, but there's no like cliffhanger or there's nothing where like you're clinging
Yeah.
on to. You're just kind of like in your head, you're tying up all the loose ends is how I felt as I was reading this book, which is totally fine. I think it was
Hmm.
sweet. It's just not fair when Ryan Shay is in the mix. And like I
Yeah.
cannot express that enough. I just went back to just remind myself like sometimes when this happens to me if I'm reading a series, I'll think like I'll doubt like the quality of the other. Not that this was bad, but like I'll kind of doubt the significance of the others because I am such a
Hmm.
mood reader. Like it really depends on when I read the
Hmm.
book on how they affect me. So I was like, am I just like cramming this in between work and that's why it's not sitting in? But then I read some highlights from the right move. I said, nope.
No, it's
You
still
know,
gonna,
that's a 6-star read over there.
yeah, no, yeah, it's still gonna be perfect any way you
Yeah,
read
it's
it.
still
So,
gonna be.
like overall thoughts, I think Rewind It Back was probably the weakest out of all of them.
I
Um,
think I liked Rewind It Back better than Caught Up.
okay. See,
Personally.
I also like when I first read Caught Up, I was like, okay, this is fine, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you read Isaiah's book and you hear Kai's like retirement speech.
Yeah.
It really changed my
Oh
perspective.
yeah, I sobbed during that,
Yeah.
obviously.
Also, okay, I have a theory. I think that Kai and Miller are like maybe her favorite couple because I feel like they get the most screen time in
Mm-hmm.
everybody else's books.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously he's not introduced in Mile High and he's like barely introduced in The Right Move. But
Right.
like after they're established, like I mean, obviously he's gonna have a bigger role in Isaiah's book because that's his brother.
Mm-hmm.
But like even still in
Yeah.
Rewind It Back, I felt like it was always about Kai and Miller for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. True.
Anyway, that's my opinion.
And you'll
Um,
leave it at that.
no, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So Summer and I also read a fantasy at the beginning of this month, and we genuinely have not said a single word to each
I
other
don't
up.
think you understand how much willpower it takes for us to do that
No,
about
I mean,
anything.
when I say the beginning of the month, this book came out May 6th, okay? Like we have not said a word about our thoughts about obviously I read your Goodreads review, obviously. Like
Yeah.
that is kind of like my introspective of
Right.
you, if that's the
Yeah.
way to even use the word introspective at all. I wouldn't
It sounded right
know.
to me.
I don't know. But so I
We even saw each other in person and still refrained from talking about it. The number of times I would say, so can we like maybe say one thing about Sheila's
no, and I was
parents?
like, no, we have to save it for the pod because I was really, really excited about this book. As we've said in the past, Debney Perry, one of my favorite authors, this is her dip into the romanticy space, which is obviously me and Summer's genre of
Ooh,
choice.
yeah. Yeah, a little sweet spot, if you
Yeah,
will.
something to like mix up the pot, if you
Yeah.
will. And so I was like excited to see how she was going to do this
Hmm.
because you don't really see contemporary romance authors fully writing a full-blown
Romanticy,
series,
yeah.
romantasy series. Like it's hard to go into that space. So I was really excited to hear your thoughts, Summer, because I feel like you
Hmm.
pay attention more to details when it comes to romantasy than I do.
Sure.
Yeah, just putting it out there. So I want to hear your thoughts.
So, when after consulting with you, knowing that this was going to be a series, I like take what I say with a tiny grain of salt. I don't have anything negative to say, but knowing what I know of a first book in a romantic series, typically it's going to start out pretty slow. And
Yeah.
that's what was my initial reaction. Is like
Hmm.
it wasn't slow to where I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't do this because I have read romanticises, like i.e. Lightlark. I've talked about this. Like
Hmm.
that book was like painstakingly like boring slow.
Hmm.
This one just started off slow. But again, knowing that it's a series makes more sense because when I originally went into it, I for some reason thought it was a standalone and I was like,
Yeah.
dear Lord, we're like 40% of the way through and I feel like we haven't gotten to the plot, but it makes a lot more sense, like
Yeah.
if that makes sense when
She
I
was
found out it was a
definitely
series.
waiting. She was building that and like letting us simmer and sit in it. That is for sure.
Yes. Especially like if it's a romantasy series, your first book, you're not really going to reveal
The
depth in your plot until
yes.
towards the end, where you can kind of
Right.
go and like domino effect into the
Yeah,
other one.
you're
So that
getting
makes
like
sense.
those building blocks so that you can
Right.
understand the big twist and the big plot, if you
Right.
will.
Oh, R2 just let out the biggest sigh, like, dear God, sorry I'm inconveniencing you. It was so loud. Jeez. Anyway, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh my God, it's been so, I feel like I read more books this month than I have in usually my other months because I traveled, and when I travel, I just like knock them
Fly
out.
through.
Yeah. Um, I remember thinking, obviously I enjoyed it overall, but I remember thinking that I wish the romance was a little bit more developed.
I agree.
Um, however, maybe that was the intent, like leading into the next ones.
Hmm.
Um,
Like
I
I
don't,
don't even think I could say it was romantasy. It was more
right.
fantasy in my brain. Like
Yes, the
the
romance was slim.
yes.
And I will say, like, it obviously there's a female main character and a male main character. In this, I don't really know what, other than like enemies to lovers, the trope is more so like he is a hardcore fighter, hunter, not to spoil
For
anything.
forced
Yeah.
marriage as well. Like
Yeah, forced marriage as
marriage,
well.
I guess like political alliance, marriage and convenience situation.
Yes. And she is a bit softer, doesn't know how to fight, very clumsy, like
She was
that
like
kind of dynamic.
yeah, she was very much like introduced as like the spare basically
Right.
to her because she's also a princess if you weren't aware.
Yeah.
Actually like we didn't really talk about the plot at
Yeah,
all.
that's
Like
why I was like, maybe we should introduce the plot, then I can like should I
yeah,
if I
so
talk about the things I didn't like or did like, it ain't gonna make no sense.
yeah, and I will say like obviously when you go into a new romantic fantasy series, like the world building is so important. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that she did a really good job of like letting you like giving you time
Mm-hmm.
to comprehend
Right.
her world.
Yeah, I
That's what I'll say.
agree.
So basically, in this book, there are like we're on this continent situation, but there's like other different territories, and they have this like treaty where, whenever one of whatever
The
territory, the
countries.
countries, yeah, like when their children become of age, one of them is basically like not sacrificed, but one of them is like married off to another country as like a sign of like peace and like we're not gonna do war vibes.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put it?
Kind of. It's like the princess is the one that gets sold off. If it's like a male heir, they don't have to leave their country. They get a wife sent to them.
Yeah,
So like the female princesses are the ones that are sold off and they're referred to as like sparrows
right.
because of the contract. So
The
yeah, that's
contract is called The Shield of Sparrows,
yeah,
i.e., the name of
i.e.
the
the
book.
name of the book.
Right. So we're talking about Odessa, who is
Hmm.
actually the firstborn in this territory. I forget the names because like that in my head, they don't
That's
register.
I think it starts with a C. I
No,
don't
Quintus. Quintus.
Quint oh
That's what it's called.
yeah.
But her father is like, oh, by the way, like your half sister is gonna go ahead and be the sparrow. So sorry.
Yeah.
So she like from the get-go is like doesn't really feel like she's worth it, basically. And her father, she feels like she's not good enough for her father. And then her sister, May, half sister, is getting or stepsister. No, they're
It's
half.
half sister, yeah.
Yeah, they're half. She's like basically been trained her whole life to one be the sparrow, but she's also been trained to like fight and basically become a spy for her
Spy,
father.
yeah. So yeah, that's basically the setup. Odessa is very much overlooked, like doesn't even get to wear color, kind of vibe. There is a country in this world.
Tira?
God. Huh?
Tira?
Thank you. Tara. In which like I think the best way to describe it, it's that one country that all the other countries kind of got some issues with because they have the least amount of knowledge about that country.
Yeah, they have a very
And
like
yeah,
mysterious capital that no one's ever
yes.
seen. They also have like the general warrior who's also goes
Hmm.
by the Guardian. He seems to be
Yes.
like godlike and indestructible.
Yes. And this Guardian is going to go ahead and be our male main character, of course. And
Oh my
they
God.
only
Wait, by
his
the way, spoilers.
yes, spoiler. He's just like male main character.
It's
Um,
actually very like I will say the plot twists and the twists that in this book were really good.
yeah, it was enjoyable. So the prince,
Of
we'll just say
Tira.
that,
Hmm.
Prince of Tura and the Guardian and other guards are invited to Quintus, where Odessa, our female main character, and her royal family live. They have like monsters in this world as well that are really difficult to kill, and so they're basically summoned over to exterminate these creatures that live in the water. Marrow wheels, that's what they're called, if anybody cared.
Right. The fact that
And
you remember
so
that was sweet.
yeah, I remember that, but not the name of the country. That's also really sweet. Um, to summarize it up, essentially they end up killing a specific amount that ends up activating a, an ancient contract treaty where the prince now can, choose his bride prize is essentially the phrase. And
But
so,
just to clarify, Prince Xavier was already betrothed to May.
yes.
May, aka the Sparrow, was betrothed to Xavier.
Right. Or they were going to officially like get
Get
married
married like
at
in a
the
couple
solstice or
months.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so plot twist, obviously Prince Xavier says, I don't want to marry May, I want Odessa. We're going to Tura, whatever. So that's kind of how we start. And she's going over there. Before she goes, her dad just says, like, hey, no pressure, FYI, but we were sending your sister over there to spy on that country, and we really want to know about their capital, and we want to know how the Guardian's powers work. We want to know all this information. Can't tell you what we need, but you now are tasked with all of that. You need to spy, you need to gather information, and then once you have that information, I'm sending your handmaids with you. You send them back. So that's
Right.
kind of how we start.
Right.
She's trying to play spy, but also she's like, what the
She's never
heck?
been trained to do that. She's not really good with like combat at all, like her sister
Right.
was. So it was really throwing a wrench in her father's plans. Also, like
Yes.
it's kind of like implied that her family just doesn't care about her. Like
Right.
even her father,
Right.
um, not that this is like important at all, but like her
Mm-hmm.
mother was like died when she was young and she looks
Mm-hmm.
just like her mother.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, but I feel like that does kind of come back at the end of this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the journey continues of her now in this new land, now trying to decide whether she wants to move forward and make her own story or follow what her father is telling her to do, even though her father doesn't trust her or give her any information, nor did, like Allison said, nor do they really care about her. So without giving too many details, that's essentially how the story goes. And
They're
you
keeping
already, yeah,
they're keeping so many secrets from her. Like, and you as the reader, this is why it was so slow because you as the reader genuinely had no idea what was going on until like 70% of the book.
right, right,
Which
yeah, like
which
the
wasn't a
overarching plot.
bad reading
No.
experience. It was just like it was slow.
I mean, if you think about if you've read Third of Glass, it's very similar. Like you kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, there's something happening. Like there's darkness around every corner. Like what is it? And you don't
Mm-hmm.
really find out till the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you really don't find out everything till four books in.
Yeah.
So, anyway, um, from here on, probably I cannot express my opinions without doing spoilers, major spoilers, even though I probably
Mm-hmm.
already gave some away. So, spoiler, if you don't want to hear about it, go ahead and skip ahead when we talk about the next book we read. But the Guardian, as we mentioned, is our male main character, and
Mm-hmm.
Odessa, our female main character. They end up kind of just spending a lot of time together. Um, in a enemies to lovers type vibe. And then also like, oh, she wants to be trained in fighting and stuff, and that's how they end up spending time together. So I felt like the progression of their story was like it was good at the beginning, then all of a sudden like the shift between enemies to lovers fell off. I didn't love that as
I
much.
agree. I
Um,
agree.
however, like sometimes I think that way when I don't get a dual POV. I feel like it's harder for me.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is one POV, Odessa's POV. However, it was still fine. I just think that it could have maybe taken a not necessarily longer, but maybe I wanted to see that more obvious like shift when it wasn't as obvious.
I
Like I
think it
could,
was just like we were doing so slow burn, and all of a
yeah,
sudden it was like
right.
they were together. It
And
was
even
like
like even if they had something physical a little bit and then kind of like slowly got into it, but it was kind of like as soon as any physicality came in, it was like I would die for you kind of vibe, which
yeah, it felt
sweet.
off.
But the like Allison said, the plot was the strong point here. Like
Hmm.
I wasn't necessarily, it wasn't really hinging on the romance, so maybe that's why it fell a little flat because the plot was so intense
Yeah.
that like it was kind of okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I
Um ha
yeah, I am
anyway,
aligned here. Sorry, I wanted to say something about the
no,
romance
please.
while we're on it. I didn't love this is like this happened. I'm not kidding. Every single time that these two were about to have a significant moment in which like one of them opens up, one of them is
Like
like
a heart to
a
heart.
heart to heart, something to like give us just an inch into their relationship, they immediately get interrupted. Like, and I'm not saying like that. I'm not saying like, oh, it was so annoying. I mean, genuinely, every single time they were together, they would get interrupted. And
Yes.
so there wasn't time for them to actually like bask in each other's presence. So that's
Right.
why, also why I felt like the romance was so like meh compared to the plot.
Right. There was also one point in which um he was taking care of her, which if you've seen our past episodes, you know how
Yeah.
Allison and I feel about that,
Hmm.
where it was kind of like a they spent 2 weeks together straight.
Hmm.
Then that's all we were given. Like it I guess not fade to black. It was we spent 2 weeks, not being able to leave in our own little space. And it was like, well, that probably would have been the time where they would have had the heart-to-heart moments where
Yeah.
you could be like, oh God, they're falling in love.
Yeah.
But I digress. I will say that this romance did remind me of a micro trope that I am completely fully obsessed with that I
Mm.
don't think I've ever mentioned before, and it is the name thing, where maybe throughout the whole most of the book, either the female or male main character refers to the other by a nickname or their last name or whatever it might be.
Right.
And then the moment where they use their actual name or their full name or their first name.
It hits.
Yeah,
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 it sure does hit. Yeah, it sure does.
yeah. Or even just the idea of like if a female main character said like the male main character's name, like that alone is like makes him feel some type of way.
Yeah.
And this was heavy on that because not to give too much away, but the name of it all was a really significant
Plot
kind of
point.
plot point in their
Hmm.
romance.
Yeah.
But I am very, very, very excited that it's a series because I am intrigued to continue.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
like hoping in my review, I did say like I hope that by the in or like going into the second one, we do get more of like time for them to like really like grow their connection more because once again at the end of this book, like he is gonna go ahead and be I have to leave and I don't know when I'm coming back vibes, which
yep,
he tended to do a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Overall, I enjoyed it. I don't really have like it. If someone were to ask me, should I read it, I would say yes.
I agree, but I don't think I would be like raving if that makes
No.
sense.
I wouldn't
Um,
be telling everyone I know to go and read it, but if someone were to
yes.
present me with, should I
Should
read Stolen
I?
Sparrows, I'd be like, sure.
I mean, I liked it better than Zodiac and I liked it better than Quicksilver, which have been the
Yeah,
two fantasy books that me and Summer have like buddy read this year.
yeah,
So I think that it does have potential. And I'm
yeah.
actually really impressed with Daphne's like her storytelling and her world building. Because like I love her, I
Right.
do, but
Mm-hmm.
her like romance books are like pretty much copy and paste usually. And not saying that she's not bad at like building a romance, that's not what I'm saying, but like they tend to kind of like boom. Like not
Mm-hmm.
insta love by any means, but it's kind of like we're getting the ball rolling.
Right.
There's
Okay.
usually not like an underlying, not like Liz, where there's like an underlying like life lesson that you learn.
Yeah.
Like Daphne usually doesn't have that. So,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
like I love her all the same, but I'm just saying. So the fact that she was able to like really dive deep
Mm-hmm.
and like do this type of storytelling, I was really impressed.
I thought it was
Really,
really good.
really impressed.
It was definitely better than Zodiac. It don't take much though. Sorry about that.
Yeah, they ain't that much about it.
Yeah. I probably
Um,
liked it about the same amount as Quicksilver. Um,
I've been
Same
thinking,
diff where like I enjoyed it and maybe the romance was kind of like okay, but then I'm still also interested in reading the next one. That's how I feel the same
right.
about both.
I've been thinking about Quicksilver a lot this week, and I'm like telling you, if you asked me what Quicksilver was about, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't remember anything.
Yeah. I know
I,
when you were reading it, you weren't like as into
understanding.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Not
wasn't.
not necessarily understand. I just
Well,
like I
yeah,
guess
that was the
not
case.
really.
I wasn't
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. That's fine.
Towards the end, I started to understand, but like going in, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna have to do a recap video before we go into book two.
yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Like I'm gonna need to look at Spark Notes or something.
Something. Um,
Something.
so also just like kind of going on the book theme, duh. We did want to go ahead and talk about our beachside book fest experience. Boop boop.
But
Um, Summer, this was your first book conference.
it sure was, and won't be my last.
Yep, nerp, not a nerd. Okay. We were only genuinely Summer. I feel comfortable saying this. We were literally only there for Hannah Bowen Young,
Yep,
who wrote out on a limb.
yep.
She was like the number one author that we literally just had to meet, and we did. So like success there. But we
And she
also got
signed
to
our
meet,
book.
I know she signed our books. And she told us that our accents were cute. And to her we said, "What are you talking about?"
To her, I said, "What accent?"
Yeah, we said, "I'm not sure what you mean by that,
And she said,
actually."
"I'm from Canada, so it's more obvious." I said, "What's obvious?"
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
What are you referencing?
I don't understand.
I don't
Anyway,
get it.
so we did go ahead and invite her to pursue more. That was actually her first book conference as well. Her and Summer are on the same
Yes.
page.
Yes.
And we moved forward with asking her to come to continue doing more. Oh my God, the way I
Yep.
can't speak. And we also met just like they're popular authors that we haven't read, but I feel like we're
Probably gonna dive
yeah,
in.
we're gonna probably dive in. We had Becca Mack was there who literally could not touch her with a 10-foot pole.
No, she was packed.
Her line was heinous, God bless.
So we did
And
not do that.
we did not, but we did want to.
We did.
So we might be diving into some of her books soon as
Mm-hmm.
well. There was Peyton Corinne, who
Yeah.
also writes hockey romance that I have been wanting to read for a really long time. She also was like so sweet and cutie pie. She had the cutest little
Yes.
outfit.
Yes. And her, like, each author would have, like, either some sort of, like, book art or something that aligned with the series. And her book art was really cute. Like, she had,
Mm-hmm.
like, the little postcards and stuff of the you know, if I see hockey, we're
Like
going
we're
over
yeah,
there.
we're there, which basically everybody there was a hockey romance
Yeah,
writer,
yeah. Yeah.
so we were satisfied, of
Right,
course.
right, right, right. There are a few posters that did catch our eye that we got ourselves to go over to that
Mm-hmm.
maybe we did not add to the TBR, but the poster was fine.
Yeah, you really never know
You
with
truly
these
don't.
people. Like the covers will be so gorgeous and you tried to read a single sentence and you're like, this was illiterate. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but like not saying that with anybody there. That's not what I'm saying. But like you
No.
just like cannot ever judge a book by its cover anymore, even though we
Mhm.
fully do.
Oh, 100%. I think I did tell some authors that, which is fine.
Yeah, and they were like, duh, that's why I made them so cute.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, me too. Um, overall, it was a lot of fun. We met just a lot of random authors and then genuinely got some really good books added to TBR. I got a special edition of Bride by Allie Hazelwood,
Hmm.
and it's signed by her. Not that she was there, RIP, but God, could you imagine if she was there? There's no way.
There's no way.
No way. Anyway, it's actually beautiful, gorgeous, sweet.
Hmm.
Maybe I should get a photo shoot of her and put her on the pod's Instagram page.
Yeah, because y'all have no idea what it did. I To be fair, so Summer got this from there is a romance bookstore down here called Steamy Lit that is like notorious for doing like beautiful special editions. Every time I
Hmm.
walk into Steamy Lit, I the first thing I do is walk over to the Bride special edition, see if it's on sale. Never is.
No.
Check the price to see if it's still the same price. It is. Look at it longingly
Yeah.
and put it back on the shelf. I need it so bad, but I like cannot let myself buy it for some reason.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, even though I did go ahead and purchase the special edition of Yours Truly and it was the exact same price.
But you don't have a choice in that regard, though.
No, no, because I genuinely was I literally I went into Steamy Lit for the first time with the sole purpose of buying that special edition because it
Yeah.
was so gorgeous.
Yeah, you had no choice.
No, I had no choice, and I want the bride. One day I will buy Bride Special Edition. Do not worry.
Yeah, you're gonna have you need it.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. She's pretty and she's like a hardcover book. I do
Hmm.
also definitely just have the original copy as well, in addition
Yeah.
to so
Yeah.
obviously. And I think that was the only thing I bought, right? Oh, then oh my
Oh
God,
yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait. Yeah. So we also bought book lockets.
they're so sweet and cute. I don't
Yep.
know if by the time this episode comes up, oh yeah, our photo dump will be out. Um, by the time this episode is up, so you'll see our cute little pictures with them. But they're
Hmm.
little books, and then of course we did move forward with putting special people on the inside. Who's
Yeah.
on the inside of yours?
So I have, okay, first of all, Mimi.
Hey, Mimi.
Okay, I have Rhysand, High Lord of the Night Court on this side,
Yeah.
and then Aelin, Ash River, Whitethorn, Galathinius, Queen of Terrasen on this side. So thank you so
Yeah, well,
much.
yeah, of course, sweet. I think I've already expressed who is in mine, but we could just have Queen of Terrasen and King Consort of Terrasen. That would be
Yeah,
Rowan Whitethorn Galantinius, and then Aelin Whitethorn Galantinius as well, in addition to
as well as in addition to we, unfortunately, if we did not have our mother with us at all times, our fire heart
our
with
Fireheart.
us at all times,
I don't know how we
like,
would make it.
she gives us strength every single day. That is why she is in the locket.
Originally, we were like, oh, we'll do Rhysand and Rowan. We'll do like two like book boyfriends, and I was like, I think
Mm. I
Aelin
need
has
Aelin. I need her.
Aelin needs to be in there.
Yeah,
She is our North Star.
she is. Gosh, I love her.
Love that
I
girl.
love that girl. She had to be there. She went through too much for her to not be in my locket.
No,
So,
no, literally. I mean, love her, love her. Not to get into it.
not to get into it, and
Not to get
also
into it.
like next week or next pod up, we are finally dipping our toes in a Sarah J. Maas episode.
Gonna be a special one.
It's going to be a very special one. We even have a special guest coming on,
It's so exciting.
and I feel like Summer, we might should just go ahead and give a warning now.
Yeah, this is gonna be your content warning, like
This is going, yeah,
PSA.
this is about to be the most unhinged that you will probably ever see us.
If you
Well,
think that you've seen us truly just go off the rails about a subject,
like you haven't. So,
that's mundane in comparison to
in
what will
comparison,
be
what,
unleashed.
yeah, unfortunately, like the fact that we la waited until 10 episodes to finally talk about it, it, we could have done 10 episodes alone on one of these books. So,
And I truly hope that no one thinks that that's an exaggeration. Like,
yeah, no, we're
we mean that from the bottom of our hearts.
completely and totally.
And
So,
so, yep, be
yep.
ready for that. It may become more than one episode, I will say. It might. We'll
Yes.
just have to see where the wind takes us, and we
Mm-hmm.
know it can take us far. So,
You're gonna go far. Also just kind of wanted to like clear the air and the elephant in the room. Like, yes, I thought I
please.
had bronchitis
Yeah,
this week, so I have been
yeah,
coughing a lot. When summer came down, I was doing cough mode,
for
but not
sure.
as bad as bronchitis vibes. And then
No.
recently this week, my cough has taken a turn
Towards the bronchitis
towards the
road, but not
bronchitis.
bronchitis.
Yeah, it's not bronchitis at all, but it is feeling, or it was feeling like it was when I did have bronchitis. So,
Which
and
is sweet.
and Summer's also doing tickle in her throat as of
I,
late.
I sure am, and I can't decide if it's because of the tickle in yours that was there when I was down there, or
Hmm.
if it's because right now my dog busted my lip because he was so excited to see me, and now it's like hard for me to close my mouth, and so I am sleeping with mouth open and inhaling
Mm.
all the dust and dirt in the air in my nighttime sleep. So
And we know Summer does not, she's not doing mouth tape at this time.
at this time,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
we're
Anyways,
both doing kind of like coughing, so you're just gonna have to excuse that. Like, God forbid
please.
it's flu season. No, it's
Like God,
not.
God forbid, God forbid it's allergy season. Almost
Okay?
June.
Yeah, like God forbid a girl gets sick. Like, ugh.
Okay,
Okay,
Perslay.
perfect. So now we can do thoughts, comments, and concerns. I will say some
Yeah.
of mine might be a tad dated, dude. Actually, probably not, but just like I wrote these down 2 weeks ago. So,
I also want to have the PSA in that I wrote these down. Apparently, I was really, really prepared for this episode, and I wrote these down 2 weeks ago, and I don't really know where some of these came from. So, but
okay.
I did want to stay true to my past self and
Mm-hmm.
leave them on here. So,
Okay.
just bear with me in that regard.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go first then? Thoughts? Oh gosh. What is, what is it?
Okay, hold on, sorry. My thought that I wrote down 2 weeks ago It's really like not that funny. It's just making me laugh. All I wrote down was the Battle of Lexington and Concord.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to give me a little explanation on that one.
And I don't know why I would have wrote this down. I I feel like maybe I was thinking about Hamilton and like the specific songs that are about like when they're doing the battles. And
Yeah.
I just think about like maybe just the significance of the Battle of Lexington and Concord, how like everybody
Okay.
pretty much know. I have no clue. I literally have
Yeah.
no clue. But I was like, I have to leave it because it just says Battle of Lexington and Concord. Like, yeah, shot heard
Yeah.
around the world. What do you know about that? So, do you have thoughts, perhaps about the Battle of Lexington and Concord,
Um,
or
like at this time, I'm not having anything come to mind. Oh,
you don't
excuse
have
me.
just like a plethora of just
I,
things to
I,
spit out in
if I'm gonna be
regards to
honest, I
that?
don't even remember what that is. Thank you so
Oh my
much.
goodness. Nope, not gonna dive on that rabbit hole. Anywho, it's the battle that where the shot heard around the world, kind
Right.
of like the turning point in the Civil War or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Bex.
I wish I knew why I wrote that down. I
Yeah,
don't think that
I'm
it
very curious.
I don't think it would have been any more clear than right now because I
Yeah,
probably was just really in my feels thinking about Hamilton and said, let me
obviously.
just write down, yeah, obviously. And maybe I had something to say in regard, but genuinely, that's all that is written right there. So
All right. Well, okay.
I just wanted to bring that up. I want
Battle.
everybody to be that to be top of mind for everyone that the Battle of Lexington and Concord existed.
And to like maybe take some time this week to
Hmm. Educate?
educate, maybe just take a moment of
Oh, moment of
silence.
silence.
Maybe
Yes,
think about
please.
the Battle of Lexington and Concord if you like genuinely have the time.
I mean,
Clearly,
just
Summer has.
yeah, yeah.
See a
Fill in
second.
that space with
Yeah. If you have a spare moment, go ahead and give us a moment of silence for that. So,
thank you.
okay, my thoughts are a tad different.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Logan Lerman is the white boy of infinity. Like, you know, he consistently will stay white boy of the month for literally months and months on end. And it's like just when you think you're gonna forget about him, he pops back up in the media.
100%.
And I'm not sure if you've seen this video. I'm sure you have. I obviously reposted all of them on TikTok. But you know that girl band Haim? I think that's how you say
Mm-hmm.
it. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
They like were posting all these TikToks, and like Logan Lerman was like the man candy in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, first of all, how'd they get him? Second of all, like he does not age. He is
He
gorgeous in
does not.
every stage of his life. And like obviously I was obsessed with him and Percy Jackson.
And that's where it started.
Yes. But last year he was also in this series on Hulu
Mm-hmm.
about like a Jewish family during World War II. And I mean like him with his the accent and the outfits. And like obviously like I know that in World War II we were doing poor times and whatnot, but
Right.
I loved the fashion of the 40s, especially
Yeah.
with men. So
Yeah.
he's eating it up.
Dare you say. There's the
Bronchitis.
bronchitis.
Anyway, so that's my thought. Like he will never not be the white boy of the month, in my
I mean,
opinion.
all I can say is, yeah,
Yeah,
100%, 127.
127. So, all right. Comment? Oh, wait. Yeah,
Com
comments.
yeah, comment. I know this is old because all my comment says is like the Met Gala.
Oh God, I forgot. The fact
Complete
that the Met Gala happened in our hiatus is crazy.
literally. But I think I remember the reason I wrote this down is because normally like I'm not like high fashion girly or anything like that. Like I don't know anything about that space, but like I do kind of eat up the Met Gala every year.
Yeah,
And do thoroughly enjoy seeing what people wear. This year, I don't know
unimpressed.
that I even knew what the theme was.
Mm.
I didn't. no one's outfits caught me by like, ooh, that's really cool or
Mm-hmm.
good. Like I had no
Mm-hmm.
interest in it. Again, completely forgot that it even happened this month, considering I forgot. Like if I didn't write this down here, that wouldn't have been my comment. Like I wouldn't have
Yeah.
remembered to talk about the Met Gala. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just very like I'm just very sad that it fell flat because I do thoroughly enjoy every year seeing like crazy fashion or really,
Yeah.
really stunning pieces. Um, I mean, Zendaya is my queen, so like she could wear a trash bag and I'll still say like
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. So of course I think she looks great, but I only look for her. I don't even know like anything else.
Right. And honestly, I think the reason I didn't like him all this year, because like there was not a lot of color. And then
Yeah.
I found out that like the theme wasn't calling for color. It was really supposed to be like classy black and white vibes. So I guess that makes sense, but that just
Oh.
it makes it look really drab. I'm so sorry.
But
Like,
also following up like the like camp theme,
yeah,
like that fantasy vibe, you're not gonna do it's not gonna be as good.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. Anyway, boo, the Met Gala sucked.
Yeah, it was horrible. Comments. Okay. This does say Costco hot dogs. Um, but I
Did
think
you want to get one for your birthday?
well, yeah, like literally, the only thing I want for my birthday is a Costco hot dog
Yeah,
with a Pepsi, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Like,
so sincerely.
I don't have any plans other than someone
Going
with
to
a
Costco.
Costco membership has to take me to go get a hot dog. I
100%.
digress. Um, but it is actually crazy that you can go get a foot long hot dog with a drink for $1.50.
No, no,
That
that's
is
crazy.
unheard of. Unheard of. And the fact that we have that like at the tips of our fingers
Within our grasp.
within our grasp, like, oh my gosh.
Like you're kidding.
It it is beyond words. It really is. Like,
Truly.
anyway, that's all I have to say. I want to have an alternative comment just because I haven't addressed it yet. I did go get my bangs cut yesterday and I asked Mr. Sir
Uh-huh.
to cut them to my brow. And if you can tell, there is about an inch between my brow and my bang line. Um, so
Hmm.
that's the last time I ever trust a man, obviously.
Yeah, but so when you said man, I said oh.
I didn't really have a choice. I went to Great Clips like I always do because the trim
Mm-hmm.
is $5. And the man was the only one available and he called my name and was supposed to say, ew, no, I'm not letting a man cut my hair.
I mean, I guess you will have to next time.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna be like, well, I did go at an odd time. Usually I go after work and there is a woman there that does such a good job and I always get her. So maybe I should just go after work vibes. But
Yeah.
either way, he did a horrible job and he was like it was like a blunt straight across and
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Sir, what
Hold
do I
on.
said I didn't ask for baby bangs. I didn't."
Ugh.
Anyway, and now I have a
Red
wedding this
flag.
weekend, which is so sweet. All the pictures are just gonna have to
Yeah, and you'll have to remember that man's brute force in
botch
cutting your
job.
bangs. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, not to do double comment, but
It was necessary.
I
It
had
was
to
like in the
address it.
moment comment.
Yes. Okay. Concern?
I also, I mean, this is valid, but I feel like there might have been something specific that triggered me to write this. My concern, I just wrote, I need new music.
Oh, I feel that. I feel
Which
that.
today I went to the pool and I was like trying to use like my Discovery Station or like looking up like anything to play some new music for me that'll grab my attention and every single thing was just like ew, no. Like
Yeah.
I just nothing was hitting as well as
Hmm.
when I just went through my old shuffle and listened to some individual like random bangers, but still
Hmm.
I need new music and finding new music is actually so difficult because
Hmm.
like you might suggest like one song to me, but like that's not
Enough.
refilling my music. Yeah, like I need like a full like year dedicated to discovering new music, but like who has the time?
Yes, and I used to be so good at that in college. I would like really discover new music. Now, I will say, like, 2019 was the year of music for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that so many good artists were coming out with new stuff. Now it's like so rare.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't felt alive since Noah Kahan released Stick Season.
Right. And like it's almost like why would I listen to new music when I can just play Hamilton or Wicked like again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have been listening, I think this year to a lot more worship. And I will say, discovering new worship, that
Mm-hmm.
is easy. Or I guess
Yes,
for me, like
it is. Yeah.
and I discovered so many new like
Hello.
artists who have really good like worship music. Um through just listening to like worship station. But I was really looking for like summer indie vibes
Mm-hmm.
while I was at
hmm
the pool that I want for this summer. Nothing. Nothing. Sorry.
I'll
Think
send you my summer playlist. There might be some songs on there you don't know.
okay. Let's see. Yeah.
I'm gonna do
I
that
gotta
now.
spice it up. And
This
then, what's crazy is that I still just want to like listen to Broadway music.
and what else?
What
Literally, what
else?
else?
The other day, I just wanted to relax and like take a bath, which I don't really do that often, because it's just kind of like so much effort, which I know makes me sound so lazy, but it truly is. And Grayson brought in like the speaker, and he was like, what music do you want to play?" I said, "The only thing that's gonna make me relax is Broadway music." Just wanted to get that off my chest.
Perfect.
What are you concerned with, darling?
Um, kind of like similar to like you don't want to like listen to music. Like I really, for the life of me, cannot watch TV anymore. Like it, like the last thing I would rather sit on my couch in the complete silence staring at the wall than to watch TV as of late.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's really concerning to me personally because I used to be like such a TV girl. And like
Mm-hmm.
obviously when I started to get more into reading, it like was kind of put on the back burner, but I still could like sit down
Right.
and enjoy a show or something. Like this weekend or this past weekend, I tried to start that like new show with Jacob Elordi that's like war vibes. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
that.
Yes. 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 I haven't
I
watched it, but
me either, in which like obviously that's not something like a lighthearted watch by any means, but Jacob Elordi. So like
oh
I was like,
yeah.
oh, I need to watch this. I'm not kidding, I got 30 seconds in and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't. I feel so anxious sitting down and staring at the TV. Anyway, so that's
Yeah,
my,
I understand.
which will be
Kind
totally,
of, not really actually, but
yeah, like this will totally be completely different when Bridgerton season 4 comes
that doesn't
out.
count though.
No,
That does not
it
count.
doesn't count because I binge it and it feels
Yeah,
like I'm reading a book, so thanks.
exactly. I mean, they are books. So, what's so funny is I literally just had this conversation with Grayson literally yesterday because I had told him that I couldn't help myself and told you about a little piece of some
Mhm.
of the animes that I watched and that I just kind of like kept going.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, Allison, does she want to like watch any of them?" I said, "Allison's not really into TV." He asked, he's like, "You don't think she would like them?" And I said, she's not watching TV at this time. Like I just don't think that she could sit and watch a episode. And he couldn't understand why. It wasn't that you wouldn't like it. It was that like you couldn't even get to the point where it would be on the television for you to
I
sit down
couldn't
and
even turn
watch.
on my Roku if it killed me.
And it's so funny that we literally had that. I literally was telling him that the other day because he was like, "Well, she can watch like a romance one." I said, "I don't think you're understanding. Like, she's not gonna get there at this time.
Yeah, to put
Maybe
it
in the
in
future."
to put it in perspective for Grayson, because I know he's listening, our biggest
Yeah.
fan,
Yeah.
obviously.
Go ahead.
Okay, Grayson, this one's for you. I only watch TV when I am eating a meal. It takes me about 15 minutes to finish a meal
Yeah.
due to like me like actively thinking I'm starving and have to
Yeah.
shovel all the food in my mouth.
Vacuum
So
inhale, yeah.
it takes me 2 days to finish a singular episode of Abbott Elementary, which are around
A
22 minutes
sitcom,
an
yep.
episode. Yep. They're like not even we're not even doing 30 at this time. due to like, the Hulu of it all. It
Right.
takes me 2 days to finish a single episode.
Yeah.
That is like the extent of my TV time. Now, sometimes I will be like in the mood for YouTube. Very rare.
To loop back in with the concern, I ain't got no problem watching TV. TV is
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to consume. Well, I will say it is something that Grace and I do together. When I am home by myself, I'm gonna want to read. And
Yeah.
I can't sit down and watch a TV show alone. I don't, but then again, like I did when I lived by myself, I would watch sitcoms like no other. So I guess I've
Yeah.
always just loved TV, but um
And I have two. So that's why I'm
yeah, so
like,
it's kind of like a new like yeah.
but I only like care about TV when it's like a show, like a season of a show I already have watched. AKA like when Max and Hall season 2 comes out, like I'm gonna be glued to my
Yeah.
screen.
Starting something new right now is not in the cards for you.
Well, and to be fair, nothing new at this time is good enough for me anyway.
Right, right,
So
right. 100%. Yeah.
100%. So
Anywho,
all
110.
right, 110. All right, guys. We have missed you so much actually. This has
We really
been
have.
really refreshing.
We can't wait for
Um,
the next episode coming out. We hope you
I,
guys are gonna love it. It's so
yeah, I can't
excited.
wait for you to meet our guest.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Our first guest, by the way, which is going to be really sweet. And
Yep.
we're going to be talking about something that literally Summer can contest, like me and Summer are aligned in this, like is the one singular topic that I could talk about for the rest of our life, as well as Summer as well,
The
in
true
addition
definition of I
to,
could go on and on.
yeah, so we'll be moving forward with that next week. But
If you don't mind.
thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram. If
Links
you're on Facebook,
below.
we have a Facebook page as well. And
Subscribe to our
subscribe
YouTube
to your channel.
channel.
Yep, perfect. Subscribe to our
We've had some
YouTube.
sweet sweet comment.
Yeah, we've had a singular comment that has just like meant the world to us, so keep
It
them
truly,
coming.
truly has. And so, like, wouldn't mind if you guys wanted to just go ahead and keep
Continue to do
commenting stuff like
so.
that everywhere
Yeah,
if you
and
want.
to preface like this, we had a comment and this person said, "You have great personalities. I'll go ahead and subscribe to the pod."
And I mean, it's not anything that was new to us, of course.
No, obviously, but it was good to get some like validation.
Reassurance. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, continue doing that, please. It's always welcome. Encouraged, perhaps. And go ahead
Right.
and listen on Spotify and Apple Podcast or
As well.
wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well.
All right. Bye,
Love you
guys. Love
guys.
y'all.